Hi, this is Queer Joy, and I'm Daniel MacIvor. And this is Rufus Wainwright live on stage at the inaugural PTP Pink Awards on November 7th, 2024, 2 days after the American presidential election.
Hello. I usually, at these type of events, I just get up and kind of sing, but obviously it's been a terrible few days. I live in the United States, and it's good to be here. It's good to be here. Everything's been so rushed and so crazed, and I was walking around town today, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna sing this next song for the first time after what occurred on Tuesday, and but it struck me.
We'll give you the whole heartbreaking, joyful moment of that performance later. But first, my conversation with Rufus from his home in LA a few weeks before the awards. So, who are you? Give me the top of the long list of things you are. Don't be afraid to get personal.
Okay. Hi, my name is Rufus Wainwright, and I am a composer, songwriter, singer, husband, father, Canadian, American, a lot of things.
It's interesting that father and husband made the top of the list. Family is very centrally focused for you.
Yes.
And that's not the case for everybody. How do you make that work?
Yeah, I guess I'm fortunate. In most respects, I'm fortunate. But there's also moments when it's tricky, being so close to one's family and so enmeshed as we McGarrigle Wainwrights are. I guess music was the central hearth of our existence, and we just, I think, very much in a kind of folk music tradition, which was very popular for my parents in the 60s and 70s, before disco hit. That was a way to, that brought us all together. You needed someone to sing, a tenor part or a bass part, or to do one of the endless verses of some murder ballad or something. So I think it was really the music that drew us together. And also, in a lot of ways, was a way for us to almost like connect emotionally without having to actually, talk and face stuff. It was, we could kind of just put everything to the side and sing.
And sing they certainly did. For those of you not fully in the know, Rufus comes from a musical lineage that would rival, if it was acting, it would be the Barrymores. If it was politics, it would be maybe the Kennedys or the Windsors even. This is a group of folk singers and troubadours that redefine the genre. Rufus's mom was Kate McGarrigle, who, along with his aunt Anna, were the McGarrigle sisters. His dad is Loudon Wainwright III. His sister is Martha, who, by the way, is heading out on a tour in 2025, celebrating the 20th anniversary of her stunning debut LP, Martha Wainwright. His stepsister is Lucy Wainwright Roach, daughter of Loudon and Suzy Roach of sister act vocal trio The Roaches. And please do yourself a favor with an easy search and watch The Roaches' jaw-dropping version of the Hallelujah Chorus from the November 17th, 1979 episode of SNL. And Rufus's teenage daughter is Viva Wainwright Cohen, whose mother is Lorca Cohen, daughter of Leonard, which of course means that Rufus's daughter's grandfather is Leonard Cohen. The lineage continues. And the family grows. Rufus's husband, the arts administrator and artistic director Jorn Weisbrodt, has even been folded into the musical family business. So you're managing Rufus now. So would it be fair to call what you're doing with Rufus family business?
Yeah, it is. I think a lot of people have sort of warned us, and we're like, oh, you got to keep your career separate, and it's difficult for your relationship and all of that. And look, there's obviously some truth in that. But, family business was the norm. If you had a shop, it was a family business. You had a farm, it's a family business. And so in a way, us working together it's a total family business for sure. To me, I have a very traditional sort of German upbringing, and that included going to the opera and going to the theater, but it never really included the arts as a career. You know, it was sort of something that you did, that you enjoyed, and I had always fantasized sort of about of being part of like one of these amazing artistic families. And Rufus and the MacGarrigles and the Wainwrights are that in the music, in the folk music world. So, I mean, music, I think, is the most beautiful art form in a way. Sorry, Daniel, you're a writer. But I do think it's sort of almost singing is the most rewarding activity that human beings can possibly do with their bodies and with their minds.
If I was a singer and very involved with my musical family, that is exactly the point of view I'd want my husband to hold. Rufus and Jorn are a great couple, and they make their own rules. Friends of theirs have described Jorn as the man-wife and Rufus as the woman-husband. They keep things very fluid in terms of roles, and as glamorous sounding as the work continues to be, in 2024, Rufus played Carnegie Hall and shook up musical theatre in London's West End, writing the songs for Ivo Van Hove's adaptation of Opening Night. Things also have a practical side. Rufus has taken to appearing on mainstream news programs, denouncing the growth of division and hatred in American politics. Jorn is a work-at-home husband who makes the family dinner, and both Jorn and Rufus have tapped into the joy of parenthood, having permanently relocated to Los Angeles to be close to Viva.
Well, I think in the end of the day, what matters most, and this is something that I'm quite proud of, is just that you're present. To be there physically is so important, which my father wasn't able to do with me. You know, he was on the road a lot of the time, and it was also a different era. You know, the 70s and 80s. I don't think dads were really expected to do much. So for me to spend a lot of time with Viva is turned into one of my major accomplishments in life, and I've done a few things.
Rufus has chosen as his changemaker pflag Canada. pflag is a beloved organization first formed in the 70s and going strong still today as a space of advocacy and support for 2S LGBTQ+ people who might be struggling with family adjusting to coming out. Although it seems apparent on why Rufus would choose a family-focused changemaker like pflag, one also might imagine that pflag might not have been on his radar. One might imagine that being from a show business family of radicals and rascals would make the whole coming out process easier. But it turns out one would be wrong.
I think what drew me to it especially is because, my parents, bless them, did a kind of terrible job in terms of my coming out. It wasn't totally their fault because I came out very young. I was 13, and it was 1987, and AIDS was, ravaging the world, and I think deep down they were just scared shitless, and didn't really know how to deal with it properly. And so, my dad, my mom, and as I said, out of fear, and also out of trauma that I think she had growing up, in the Catholic Church especially, was like, I might kick you out of the house. She threatened to kick me out of the house when she sort of found out. I don't think she was serious about it, but it was pretty intense. And we then later, came back together, and she apologized, and we were able to, and she loved Jorn, and she and we discovered opera together. We went on that journey together, and it was great. But it was not an easy road, shall we say. So I do remember, quite young, seeing these moments where parents would come out and really, unabashedly support their children, and being just so blown away by that, and really, aching for it. It was something that I really needed and that I didn't get.
It's hard to describe the feeling of being at a pride parade and seeing pflag come into view with their rainbow flags and homemade signs. Love makes a family, blessed with a gay son, free hugs. It's like the sun coming out, and at the same time, like our hearts all filled to breaking. We were all aching for it. It didn't matter how old we were, all of us were children for that moment and feeling it all. Gratitude, regret, tears, tender affection, and love. So many of us, suddenly so aware of how outside we had been, now inside. After the break, we'll feel the warmth of pflag. I'm Daniel MacIvor, and this is Queer Joy.
The 2024 PTP Pink Awards was made possible by the generous support of our sponsors, and we are deeply grateful for the generosity of our title sponsor, Decium, the Abnormal Beauty Company. Thanks to Sarah Frumstein and the entire Decium team.
Okay, Rufus, get up here.
I have to say, pertaining to my story of coming out very young and at a very, very dark time in 1987. Well, my dad, he just turned to me and he said, "So are you gay, straight, or what?" And I really know what to say at that point. He was fine with no answer, actually. But my mom had such a hard time. When my mother, there's that magazine in Quebec called Fugue. Remember Fugue? She found a copy of Fugue and probably some other more salacious things. And I came home and she had a scotch in one hand and a cigarette in the other, and she said, "Rufus, don't tell me something I don't want to hear." So I didn't, and we pretended for a few years. And my whole life is really, my whole early childhood life is really filled with some pretty traumatic memories of that whole process. So in a lot of ways, an organization like pflag would have been so helpful and so saved us a lot of pain, both myself and my parents, because I think in a lot of ways the parents, they're in as much pain in a lot of ways. So I would like to invite up Lori and Christa up here to give them this amazing award.
I'm Daniel MacIvor, and this is Queer Joy, and that was Rufus Wainwright at the 2024 PTP Pink Awards, and this is pflag Canada.
My name is Christa Duvall, and I am the president for pflag Canada.
My name is Lori Ward, and I am a proud pflag mama.
I asked Christa to tell me about pflag's history.
It started in New York in the 60s by a mom named Jean Mansford, and back then, the acronym, well, in the States, they still use it. The acronym stands for Parents and Friends for Lesbians and Gays. Took a little bit more time to come up here to Canada, but similar in the same way that it started in the States, it was moms in Toronto, and they started a group called Parents of Gays. Eventually, by the 70s, late 70s, they transitioned again to pflag. Fast forward, we're now pflag Canada, but we only use the pflag as a way of people recognizing us. We don't use that acronym. It's not representative of the entire community and all of the voices and the people that belong to it. So we use pflag in Canada as lowercase. pflag today, we have over 60 chapters across Canada, and we're adding new chapters all the time. I just did an interview for a chapter to start in Nunavut. We're coast to coast and soon to be coast. And every chapter is independent. Every chapter does something differently. So we started off as providing support for parents who were looking for help when their child came out, to understand and get information and how they could help their child. That's transitioned. We have so many people who are part of the queer community and part of the trans community who are now looking for that support, as well as the parents. We've also got kids who are coming out at super young ages and are gender diverse, and they're exploring their lives, and so they need support. So what you'll find from one chapter to the next is all different support services. Each chapter is They run what is needed in their community. So what you'll find in Toronto is going to be different than what you'll find in Windsor, in Alberta, in Victoria, all different.
A powerful and important organization started by moms. And it's worth noting that the first mom, Jean Mansford, started the organization as a way of finding support because her gay son had been arrested at the Stonewall riots. As we've been saying, scratch the surface of any of our history and there's protest and heartbreak and joy. Here's Lori.
My relationship started with pflag when my daughter at the time came out and told me that she was a lesbian. I was actually okay with that. I just didn't really know how to handle what I thought her life was going to be like going forward. And it wasn't about non-acceptance. For me, it was, I didn't know what their life would look like. I didn't know, the white wedding dress kind of went out the window. At least that's what I thought would have to happen. So I wondered if life was going to be harder for them. And that was my concerns. And then I thought, wow, I'm okay with this. But what are families that have political and religious beliefs? What are those kids doing? And so that really kick-started me to go, okay, let's get on with this and see what's going on out there with the community. So I contacted Rosie O'Donnell, and Rosie actually wrote me back and said, find your nearest PFLAG chapter. At that time, there wasn't an active chapter in our city, so I quickly needed to take some training and got our organization up and running again. And so right away, in getting PFLAG rebooted, I got to meet so many wonderful people and learn so much. I had no idea what it meant to be transgender, genderqueer. Those were foreign terms to me. I thought I was going to meet parents whose kids were struggling. And instead I was meeting the individuals themselves. And then a little while down the road, our child comes to us, who's now an adult, and said, there's more to my orientation. And it's that I'm struggling with my gender, my identity. Well, by this time, I had educated myself and understood what it meant to be transgender, and that there were varying moving parts to all of this. And so now our child identifies as non-binary and uses they, them pronouns or he, him pronouns. And they're living their life like it's golden. And that's all a parent really wants for their child. And that's what's made me so happy in it, meeting other parents and other families, seeing them come in, struggle, and then come together as a family unit and be happy and realize that's all we want is thriving, happy, productive kids that give back to society. And we've done that with our child, so it's good.
So PFLAG has transformed as our community has transformed and has helped to create a new idea of family. Here's Christa.
We are creating families. The main goal of PFLAG is to keep families together, to give them the information and the knowledge and support that they need so that their child is successful and that they know how to support their child. If we have successful children, whether they're adult children or children, if they're supported, they're going to go on and do amazing things in their lives because they have that. Parents are getting that information. They're getting that love. They're getting everything they need from a PFLAG chapter. We also talk a lot about chosen family in PFLAG. A lot of queer and trans folks lose their families. So when they come to a PFLAG meeting, they're gaining a chosen family. They might not know it right away. But they soon find out that, we're going to be there when other people aren't, and we are going to be there to hold you up, and we're going to be there to celebrate the really great things, and we're going to give you a hug when you're having a really crappy day. So it's not just about a family made of blood. It's about a family made of community.
A chosen family, a family of community, a family of love. And another kind of family. Now that our unions are sanctioned, now that there is support and acceptance and love is allowed, for now at least, we can form queer families, like Rufus and Jorn have done with Viva. We can generate love and acceptance that we may not have known ourselves. Rufus wanted me to share this photo with you of his family.
I love Rufus. I'm so delighted.
That's Rufus and Jorn and their daughter Viva.
It actually makes me feel emotional, to be quite honest with you. How wonderful now that a child can be loved by two male partners or female or transgender. Like this, our world's coming along. Not fast enough for some of us, but to see that, that's beautiful. She's a lovely, happy little girl. It's just all about love. PFLAG is love. This picture is love. So I'm happy to see it. That got me choked up.
Well, that's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing. And this is what our work's all about. It's about making sure families understand you are okay. Go live your lives. Stop fretting about things. Stop thinking about what people think. When love will always win.
Let's hope. Let's hope that love will win, that joy will rise from heartbreak and protest, that family will form from community, like it did on November 7th, 2024 at the Pink Awards, in many moments, but probably most clearly, most heartbreakingly, most defiantly, in the moment we lifted our heads and saw that queer room and realized that we were outsiders inside something together, that we were family. We'll leave you with this.
I'm going to a town that has already been burnt down. I'm going to a place that has already been disgraced. I'm gonna see some folks who have already been let down. I'm so tired of America. I'm gonna make it up for all of the Sunday times. I'm gonna make it up for all of the nursery rhymes that never really seem to want to tell the truth. I'm so tired of you, America, making my own way home. Ain't gonna be alone. I got a life to lead, America. I got a life to lead. Tell me, do you really think you go to hell for having loved? Tell me you're not for thinking everything that you've done is good. I really need to know, after soaking the body of Jesus Christ in blood. I'm so tired of America. I really need to know. I may just never see you again, I might as well. You took advantage of a world that loved you well. I'm going to a town that has already been burnt down. I'm so tired of you, America. I'm making my own way home. Ain't gonna be alone. I got a life to lead, America.
I'm Daniel MacIvor, and this has been Queer Joy.
I got a life.
Thanks to Grant Kobayashi in Los Angeles and Paulina Tafe in Toronto. Please join us for our final episode, Legacy, with guests Michelle Mama and the inimitable, irrepressible icon, Salah Bachir. Thanks to our presenting sponsor, Decium, the Abnormal Beauty Company, along with category award sponsor BMO and media sponsors iHeartRadio, The Globe and Mail, and Everything Podcasts, and to our publicists, Rocket Promotions. Queer Joy is a production of Pink Triangle Press.